So hello, hello, hello. Hi, welcome everyone. Very happy to have you all here. In case you don't know me, I am Mr. Sam, or you call me Sam, and I am the director of Young Scholars Academy. So I am going to start us off. This is Forward to School Night. Okay, so just a little roadmap of what we're going to do. We're going to have three essential visits. Oop, we got some. I'm just going to mute everyone, and then you can, of course, unmute. That way, there's no interference or anything. So three things we're going to do. First, we're going to discuss the importance of reflection, and I'm going to share some resource with you to help you all reflect and have an amazing year with your young scholars. Second, we're going to explore how Young Scholars Academy might support you and your students this year. And then finally, third, we're going to do a little Q&A. So if you have any questions, if you could try to save them to the end. I really do want to be able to answer all your questions, but I also want to be able to respect everyone's time. And to do so, I'm going to keep myself honest with a little Pomodoro timer. All the psychology shows us that we can't pay attention for more than 20 minutes anyways here. So I'm going to get us started. There we go. All right, so let's go into the first step. So first off, and you can raise your hand. You can give me some love in the chat if you'd like to. But odds are, it's back to school season, and a lot of parents often have a slight little tinge in their tummy as they wonder if their student's going to be off to a good start, right? More often than not, we know our twice exceptional students start out strong, and then they often get a little bit burnt out, right? They get a little of that, endurance, the fatigue, right? So a lot of the times they really come out and it seems like it's going to be a wildly different year, and then some of the old habits and routines pop up. Well, this year I'd like to equip you with a resource that will hopefully help to mitigate that. So let me go ahead and put this on display and help you hopefully avoid some of the old habits and routines. Last year was a crazy year. There was no doubt about that. And before everyone wishes to simply go back to the way things were, I would like to encourage you to encourage your students to reflect on their growth. They may not believe it, but a lot of students actually grew tremendously in the previous year. And if you're able to bring their attention to it, you might just see that they can then identify, wrap their hands around, and lead with the developments and growth that they made. So I said, tip number one here, don't just go back, move forward. Okay. And this sounds cliche, clickbaity maybe, but so many people are saying, oh, I can't wait till things go back. We can't wait to go back to school. Your student had their entire world, and you parents had your entire world completely upended last 18 months. And your student had to suddenly take on responsibilities and do certain things that they never had to do previously. And it should be underscored that a lot of students, twice exceptional and neurodivergent students, really struggle with that level of executive function and agency. So before we just go back to school this year, let's put a name to some of the progress they made. Did they remember each day, oh, my Zoom starts at this time and this is where I can find the link? Or, oh, I can't forget I have to submit this on this website, with no teacher in your home to force them to. Maybe you all were the teachers doing that. But we want to try to kind of survey and figure out, what did our students do well? And then this is step number two. How can we replicate that? How can we take that back into the schools, right? Your student left school transformed, some for good, some struggle, and is now going back. They are a square peg, and we don't want to just stuff them back into the round hole, right? All of that growth should not be for naught. There are silver linings to distance learning. I'm going to say this again. There are many silver linings to distance learning, and odds are your students are in a far better place, although it may not always felt like that. And kudos to all you parents. I'm sure you had a heck of a lot going on in the last year or so. So I'd like to encourage you to have your students inventory what they might have done, and let this be a conversation. I'm going to share this resource with you in a moment. There's different videos here that are all linked, and they are geared towards parent and student, and it's meant to facilitate a conversation. So go ahead and let that guide you. Also, number three, another step here that may hopefully provide some value to you as you get ready to go back, but ask your student to reflect a lot on what didn't work and what they need from school, right? So much of this executive function skill development, one of the number one things we want our students to be able to do is to advocate. I was just talking with a mom before this meeting. She said, my son needs to become an agent for his own change. He needs to learn how to identify what he needs and reach out. And I thought, this is what everybody wants, right? We want our children to be able to say, and this is something that a lot of 2E students struggle with. Hey, I'm struggling with this. Why? And who might be able to help me? So if we can look back at this past year, if so-and-so, if your son or daughter or child went into a bit of a rut, talk about it candidly. Let's unpack it. Why? How? How could it have been avoided? What are some alternate strategies we might have taken? What was missing that we need school to provide this year? And then you, alongside with your student, can have a candid conversation with the school. Hey, last year was really tough. And X, Y, and Z happened. We want to make sure that we can avoid that. The flip side to that is last year was amazing because we had so much more time and we were able to explore all of these things that schools never allowed. How can we keep that going? Number 4, mindfulness. This is a key tip. I don't know about all of you as parents. I needed a lot of mindfulness in this last 18 months. I needed a lot of time to just kind of ground myself, not be overwhelmed, maybe do a little meditation. And in all of my classes during the school year, I was doing these headspace meditations. So I'm not endorsed or anything by Headspace, but there's fantastic little 1-minute resets. We know that a lot of asynchrony happens, right, which can spool up our twice exceptional learners. They may have the ability to think at an extremely high level, but the emotional regulation might be low, or the executive function might be low, and that can cause a tremendous amount of anxiety. That's a sort of metacognitive awareness that they can do something, but they can't seem to do it. So if we can equip them to come back to the present moment, a lot of the times they can do the creative reset, right? And sometimes that can be just asking your student to take a walk, right? Remember, we have to model for our children, whether it be teachers doing it in school as they go back to school, or whether it be in the short amount of time that you have with them at home after school, or during the day if they're homeschooled. Hey, you keep butting up against this wall. Let's take a spin around the block. Or why don't you go kick the soccer ball and set a 10-minute timer? Come back fresh. Is it kind of showing how we do this, or maybe in our own personal lives? I'm fried with all these emails, whatever it may be. Let's go take a stroll. Number 5, and this is key. Beyond just Young Scholars Academy, which of course you should check out Young Scholars Academy, get out and explore all the available resources, right? If you learn nothing else this past year, I hope it's that the online space can provide an incredible virtual ecosystem to support your young students, right? That there's all of these different village elders out there that can kind of guide your students in their development. So I would encourage you this year to not just go back to school, but tap into all of the great developments and challenges from the last year or so, and take this holistic approach to helping your student grow, develop, reflect, and live a much happier and hopefully more fulfilling life. And then sort of bonus stuff at the bottom, I put, there's a metacognition, of course, and the advocacy element, right? We're getting our students to think about their thinking, which is so important. And then, of course, getting them to speak up. So there's a heck of a lot going on there. Just general tips that I hope are helpful. All right. So keeping myself honest, again, I allocated about 15 minutes to talk at you, and then I want to zip my lips and listen a bit. I'd like to pivot over to part number 2, which is going to be exploring the different options that Young Scholars Academy can offer your kiddos this fall. So I'm going to sort of re-up our screen share here and just kind of walk you through some of the different resources that we have. I want to big picture takeaway. Oops, I got someone in the waiting room. Big picture takeaway, I'd like to encourage you all, it's almost as if, and I use this metaphor a lot, but like we've sort of awoken from a collective slumber, and a lot of people are seemingly rushing to go back to bed, right? And I would encourage you to encourage your students to stay awake and kind of think about, what's the ideal situation here? Let's not just repeat the habits of the past, but let's change it up. Let's manipulate the system. Let's move things around and do what's best for our kiddos. So let me go ahead and screen share this for you. This is just a little overview of some of the ways in which you might tap into that bigger system and support your children this upcoming year. Some of these courses are just for the fall and others are for the entire year. So I said, this is courses that matter for students who demand them. There's a variety of different courses we're going to go over here, a variety of different programs. The first is an AP course, 2E AP. This is psychology, and the course is called Life Examine. Okay, so this is a course that will be meeting on Mondays after school. I should note, this is not technically an accredited AP class, right? Although I've taught this for years, it does not show up on students' transcripts, all right? But what it does do is this is a way in which your twice exceptional students can take the courses that they're capable of taking, right? College level courses, and get credit for them. However, I just want to mention that it shows up as an independent study, which, by the way, has another silver lining of showing that your students are taking on, wrestling with, and really succeeding with college level content. So there's two courses there, AP Psychology and AP Government and Politics. And of course, passing both of those tests in May, the advanced placement tests, will give your students college credit at most colleges. So it's pretty exciting. I have a student that's taken all of my AP courses, and he's joining me for psychology this year. And he'll actually be going to college as almost a sophomore because he's taken so many. And it's just a brilliant way, right? Our twice exceptional students just have often really messy, if I can be honest, really messy transcripts. I mean, they bumped around to different schools, and they don't always show just how bright and capable they are because of the complexity of their dual diagnosis. So being able to say, hey, you know, this may be messy, but look, I got, you know, this college credit here, that might kind of show just how bright and capable these kids are. So 2 AP courses there. That's Mondays and Tuesdays. Those classes meet from 4:30 to 5:45 p.m. Pacific time. Then my most popular summer camp, I've decided to turn into a year-long course, Crypto Commanders, Investing Secrets from an Early Adopter. So another really exciting class. This one is going to be on Wednesdays from 4:15 to 5:10. That's Pacific time. And this one goes from September 8th to October 20th. Okay, so really fun course. I have to always say I'm not a financial advisor. I have to legally say that, not financial advice, but without a doubt, cryptocurrency is certainly the future of the economy. And let's face it, our twice exceptional students eat this stuff up, right? They love the decentralization and understanding the way in which the economy, you know, is changing. Seeing all these companies like Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers who said that crypto was this really messy thing, and now they're offering like giant ETFs and funds in crypto. So it's a great way to equip your students to understand the economy of now and the economy of the future. So that's Crypto Commanders. The next one is my longest lasting, Speech and Debate. We've got level 1 and level 2. Those classes will be on Thursdays. And level 1, essentially, if your student has never taken a speech and debate course before, they should take that one. If they've taken one of my camps or courses, then they should go to level 2. And parents, speech and debate is so important because our students often have these incredible voices. They have strong opinions, as you all know, and they often struggle to articulate, right? They struggle to action the different thoughts, organize them, and then articulate them. And not only do we see this in speech, but we see this in their writing. A speech and debate, I've had students tell me, I actually had a student that quit my speech and debate class years ago, and she came back after her freshman year of college, and she's like, I know I was tough, but your speech and debate class actually taught me how to write better than any of my English classes, so thank you. You know, it's like a very proud moment for her, kind of swallowing her pride. So speech and debate is so, so important, especially for our 2E kids that just have these extreme interests, but sometimes struggle to articulate. And let's face it, often struggle to find actual evidence rather than just, you know, repeat the first thing that they hear or read or whatever it may be, but really delve into the biases and so forth. A next one, and this is, I mentioned in my emails, I was going to announce a new course. So this is Young and Thriving. A group of parents just emailed me recently and asked me to create this program. I used to offer Young and Thriving last year, and I had a summer camp, and some parents asked me to create a course just for seniors, and assured me that this is something that's so valuable that I can't cut it from my listing. I wanted to only have a few courses this year, but well, people are demanding more. So this is a course for seniors. It's helping twice exceptional students prepare for that transition from high school to college or high school to life after. And it examines a variety of things like executive function, organization, applications, finance, advocacy, and so many other elements. This is a year-long course like the AP courses. Those are the only 3 that are year-long programs. The rest of them run for 6 to 8 weeks. So that is a course just for seniors. And I really do believe that this is a course that all twice exceptional neurodivergent students need to take. Okay, I've got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to rush through this. Again, I want to keep myself honest to this 15-minute timer here. If you were my students, I'd have you all get up and stretch and move around a little bit. The next program that I have, this is a Friday class. This is Young Historians, the stuff your history teacher doesn't want you to know. This is a really popular class, especially amongst a lot of my younger students, which is ultimately looking at alternate histories and really getting students, like I said, with debate, to kind of wrestle with, biases and some of the assumptions that we make, both in our own thinking and in the media and news. So this is a really fun course where students study alternate outcomes and actually create alternate history or counterfactuals. So very popular class. And that one is on Fridays from 3 to 3:55 p.m. And just in case you parents thought I forgot you, I actually decided to do something really cool. I had a couple parents email me extensively. We actually set up some meetings after my first crypto class, and they were asking my opinions. Of course, not investment advice, right? Not financial advisor. I have to say that again. But I decided to create. I've been trading crypto since 2017, and I'm a diehard crypto fan. And I truly do believe the future is very much decentralized. And I know a lot of people are hearing, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Funnily enough, a mom recently emailed me and said that her son has now become her financial advisor, and that they gave him $500 after our crypto camp this summer, and that he's actually turned it into like $3,000, which is amazing because that was only about a month ago. So definitely a lot of, I think, content to unpack there, but I'm doing a 2-class crypto course for parents. That's going to be Wednesdays on September 15th and September 22nd, if anyone's interested. And finally, just a little last minute announcement. I'm going to open it up to you. But if any students that sign up by tomorrow at midnight for any of these courses, and that includes everyone that signed up thus far, is going to be entered into a free executive function seminar. We're going to do a 20-minute sort of tips and coaching for anyone that signs up by tomorrow. It just kind of help out with some back to school tips, ways in which your students might organize themselves, and ways in which they might have a more successful year. Very last thing I'm going to do in my last minute before I open it up is I had a student put together a little video for you all. And I was talking with him and asking what it was about, my teaching in Young Scholars Academy that's been meaningful for him. And he said, well, let me put together a video. Hopefully you all can see this. All right, here you go.
Mr. Sam has been one of the best teachers I have ever had. He always finds a way to make a subject entertaining to all of his students and will always help his students find a way that they can like what they are learning. In my time in his classes, I have learned a lot, not just information, but also talents and interests I never would have figured out that I have. I owe a lot of who I am today to Mr. Sam's teaching method, and for those reasons, I can't recommend enough that other people consider taking one of his classes, no matter the subject.
So obviously I probably don't deserve those accolades, but very sweet nevertheless. Okay, well, I want to thank you all for being here and just say 2 things. One, don't go back to the way things used to be, right? Your students have spent the last 18 months maybe struggling, maybe thriving, maybe a combo of both, probably more likely. And it's important that we look back at those two halves of your whole student and nurture and address both, right? A lot of people, I think, want to just kind of brush aside and go back to the way things were because it was working. But your students deserve more than just working, right? They deserve the very best. And through the struggle, through the grit and the tenacity of the last 18 months, probably was a lot of growth, and they probably need to unpack it some. And you all can be helpful with that. And then to that end, of course, hopefully you see some room at Young Scholars Academy or elsewhere to help them go beyond just the school and offer other kinds of services and other kinds of enrichment that can help your students self-actualize and become their best selves. So thank you all so much. Please email me if you have any other questions. I'm going to always be available, and I look forward to seeing your kiddos in upcoming classes. Thank you.